using and utilizing the tools. And so one thing that we see often is, two same agents are going to hop on the platform and they're going to use the same platform two completely different ways. And so I don't think there is a wrong or a right way to use the CRM as long as we're actually using it, right? That would be the only wrong way, is just never logging in and never doing anything with it. So today, what I wanted to focus on is sort of a kind of a high level overview and really focus on a few of the components that a lot of our top producers are actually leveraging with the platform. So having said that, I have a couple notes to keep me on track so that I don't ramble, but we are really kind of free form today. So if there are any questions as we're going through this, feel free to drop them in the chat. Candace will be kind of watching the chat because I don't think I'll be able to see that when I start sharing my screen. Um, I don't know if we want to do an unmute and ask questions. If we have a generic question, feel free to do so. If it's something specific on your platform, that might be something that we could probably handle offline. But then we're also going to have kind of a general Q&A afterwards. So having
Yeah.
said that, I am
Yeah,
going.
I think that's a great idea. If we can just put your questions in the chat and maybe we'll, kind of pause and every 10 minutes or so and see if we can clear that. That's perfectly fine. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I am going to, Candace, can we see that, my screen here?
We can see it, you bet.
Perfect. Okay, so I am going to start really from the top, from the beginning here, and we are going to start with the dashboard, right? This is the overview of your lead manager, your CRM. When you log in, your view might look a little bit different than mine because this is one of our test accounts and I'm actually an admin. So this would be what it would look like if you guys had your own separate system, but most of this is going to match with what your experience is. So when you log into the CRM, and this is something that we recommend regardless of how you run your individual real estate business, the biggest kind of tip and trick that we always have is start your day by logging into the CRM and focusing here on this live feed in the middle. This is going to show you the activities, the communications that your leads have been essentially experiencing, or when they're on the platform, on the website, looking at stuff. This is what's going to show you what they're doing, right? So when you log in, first thing, you want to look at this live feed and just see what's been going on since the last time you logged in. So basically, what's been going on overnight. This is kind of your hot list. And then same thing at the end of the day. Go about your day, do your prospecting, your events, your networking, whatever it is, and then end your day logging back in and looking at this live feed and seeing what's gone on, during the day. Give yourself some time at the end of the day. Maybe at, 4 o'clock, you log back in. So if there's people you need to reach out to and call, it's not too late. So that's the first thing we want to bring our attention to, is just this live feed in the middle, right? Because this is, again, the difference. If you have leads that you're working with and we are sending them to the MLS, if we're sending them to Zillow as opposed to the Best Choice website where we can actually track what they're doing, we tend to lose contact. We tend to lose touch with our leads. So it's very important to be able to use the system the way it was designed. And that's what this live feed is going to show you. The next is we are going to be able to actually filter. So as I said, you can see a couple different things. I always look at what's been going on with the properties. So, who's been viewing properties, what they've been favoriting, and if they've done any searches, that's what's going to show up here. You can also include things like communications. So if I'm, utilizing the CRM to send out messages, this can see, okay, looks like Chris opened one of my emails. I've sent Chris an email. So you can filter really based on how you as an individual agent want to see what's been going on. But like I said, I typically just look at that property function because really that's where my focus tends to be. This really lets me know kind of who is in the system, what they're getting as far as market reports, save searches, because again, that's going to be the main focus. The follow-ups. This is also something that I know not every agent is going to utilize this because you all kind of do things a little bit different. But this is a great way to stay on top of what needs to be done or maybe some things that you forgot to do. So the upcoming follow-ups and past due follow-ups, these are things that you can set either as an automatic, reminder that's maybe a house anniversary or a birthday, things like that for your leads. that would be something, as well as touch points. You know, if you have a workflow in place where one of the steps is a follow-up, or you know, Jason's looking at properties, but you don't have time to call him right now. So right here, you know, you can log the activity and create a task to call Jason later today, or, you know, whatever it is. So again, the live feed, the follow-ups, those are important. And then any new leads, right? If you have new leads that you have not contacted, this is probably the most important place to go to and look, because it'll show you anybody that's been in the system, that has signed up, that has been assigned to you as an agent, and we want to get to them as fast as possible. So any questions on kind of the main screen, the main view, anything like that before I move to the next piece? Nothing in the chat?
Nothing in the chat. That was good.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so straight from this screen, I'm going to go ahead and click on Jason here. I'm going to open his contact card. So again, we're just going to touch kind of high level on some of the components that we're seeing. If there are any things that pop up, you know, feel free to reach out, let me know. The first thing here on the left-hand side, and of course, this is not loading because I'm doing a live demo, which always happens. So the left-hand side, these are just kind of the information that is about that contact, right? And this is going to have everything from your important notes. It'll house your contact information, search criteria, things like that. These are all located on the left-hand side. I actually want to, like here, important dates. These are things where, again, it's good to know, but also you can set it up. If you click on one, you can also create a reminder as well. So that'll be one of your follow-ups you want, or if you just want to add it as just something that's good to know, you can leave it there. But I want to bring your attention here to the tags. This is another one of those features that's awesome on the platform, and not enough agents are using it. For me, tags is the single most important, you know, organizational tool that you can use on the platform. The nice thing about it is, for an individual lead, you as an agent can add an unlimited amount of custom tags for any amount of leads that you have in the system, right? And tags, these can be anything that are, you know, highlighting if they have, you know, they're a dog owner, maybe they're interested in a pool, they want a ranch style home. It might not have anything to do with real estate, right? They might, you know, be a coffee lover, or, you know, a Seahawk fan, want to live by the stadium, or whatever it is, you can throw it in there. I want to bring your attention to it right now. We are going to touch on the tags a little bit later when it comes to the filtering, but just remember the tags are here. And to me, again, I think this is the single most important piece of that. The other thing is, going back to the comment of no two agents are the same. So even if you all have access to the CRM, you're all using the CRM, you're all probably using it a little bit different, and some information is more important to you than others. So that's why all this information on the left, it's actually adjustable. So if you are clicking on leads, and for you, maybe you do utilize the tags and you want to see this first, you can actually click this button here and move it up towards the top, so that when you log into your contacts, your tags are going to be at the top of everybody, right? So you want to look at that first versus scrolling down. So a lot of people don't realize that by clicking and dragging this stuff around, you can kind of reorder based, again, on what you want to access first and foremost. So that's just another little kind of tip that goes in there. The other thing I want to highlight is in the, I've moved these around so much, I don't know where it is. Okay, so under the highlights section, last email update. This is another key piece of information to look at, because what this does is this tells you,
Hey, relax.
if they are on some type of saved search or market report, if the system itself is sending some type of automatic communication, that's where this is. So if you have a lead that says, hey, you know, I signed up for a search a week ago and I haven't gotten anything, you can come down here and see, like, okay, well, 7 hours ago, so sometime this morning you did get something. Maybe check your spam, maybe check your junk folder. So this will tell you. Or if it's 0 or never, then we know, okay, maybe their email's incorrect, but the system's not sending it out. So that's one thing that I want to highlight as well in that highlight section. And with the contact information, so the CRM, it's only an important tool if you're using it, right? So that's first and foremost. And the second part about a CRM in general is it's only as good as the information you put in it. So we want to make sure the contact information that you have for your leads is constantly being updated as we get it, right? So Jason here, he's a lead. If he signs in and changes his email address, it's automatically going to get changed in here. But maybe you run into him face to face and he says, hey, I got a new cell phone number. Whatever it is, we want to make sure we come in here and we're able to update and change that information because we do want to make sure that all of that is relevant and up to date. Okay, so the next component of the individual contact card, this is going to be the activity history. Now, if you have a lead that is active in the system and they've been a lead of yours for a while, this is going to be just chock full of a bunch of different stuff in here, right? And all of it, in my opinion, is very useful information. But maybe you have a meeting with Jason later today and you just need to refresh yourself on, as a lead, what he was interested in. You can actually come in here and filter by specific activity history. So you can look at, because the ones that I tend to look at are the searches they've performed, the properties that they've favorited, and then in general, just other properties that they've looked at. So you can actually go in and say, okay, of all the properties he's been looking at, it looks like, this one is, $530,000 in Arizona. This one, same thing. Ooh, but this one he favorited, right? 4-bedroom, 3-bath. So maybe he's interested in that. So it's all this information that I can automatically see based on their activity on the website. So again, this is the big difference maker. If any of you are working with leads and you're sending them to the MLS, you're sending them to Zillow, we are going to be missing some of this information unless it's on you, the agent, to manually come in here and either add important notes or update their searches on your own when you find out that information. Whereas if we are pointing them back to the website, they're going to update all of this information for you. One of the biggest things we run into in this situation specifically is when you hear somebody who say, yeah, I want a 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath condo downtown Seattle. So we set them up on that search. And then 6 months later, we look at it and they're looking at, 3-bedroom ranch style homes, maybe over in, way south, right? Maybe they're down in Vancouver is what they're looking at, right? So we need to stay on top of all that information. And again, if we're sending them to the website to look at it, then it tracks it automatically. In the event that there are things that happen outside the CRM, because again, it happens often, right? If you have a separate phone number, if you do things in person, we also want to make sure that we can log that recent activity. And so that would be in this area. For whatever reason, mine is not loading properly, but all the buttons would be right here in your view, so that you can log any phone calls, add any important notes, anything like that can be done automatically here, which again, most of it should be done within the CRM. So we don't have to go back and manually add a bunch of stuff, but anything that does happen outside, we want to make sure we add that into the activity history for whenever we need to go back and reference, if there was a phone call that was made outside, I can just click the button and say, spoke with Mitch about so-and-so or whatever we need to do there. Follow-ups, again, these are follow-ups that you have for the specific lead. These can be things like you see here, right? We've got an inspection that's coming up, or, he added a market report and I just want to make a phone call and follow up to make sure the market report is, getting him the information he's looking for, and then maybe I can refine it for him. So they can be things that are manual, but going back to the original point, if they have important dates and you created a follow-up while you created that date, it's going to pop up here in the follow-ups. One thing I will say, I'm a big task person. I'm very task oriented. So I love the follow-ups. If you are somebody who is not very task oriented, I suggest trying using the follow-ups to see if it'll work for you, but be careful. If you are not that kind of person and you assign yourself, 15, 20 tasks a day and you don't complete them all, it will very quickly add up. And like right here, you can see there's 130 past due tasks that I have, on this lead. And at that point, you just start ignoring them altogether. So you want to make sure that you can manage those, but all of those would be there if you need to. Below that is the workflows. So this is where you can see if that lead themselves are already assigned to some type of workflow, right? And these again would be available in that workflow library. If you want to assign them to a workflow, if you click this drop down, it'll give you access to the workflows that you have the ability to see. So you can add manually to the workflow. You can also pause and remove leads from workflows from this window as well. You just click on them and click remove. And so very simple process. But again, if they're saying, hey, you're sending me too much information, or, I'm getting all these junk emails from you, this is the first place that I would check to make sure that they are or are not on some type of workflow. Save searches. Okay, so this is going to be sort of that difference maker, as I said earlier. Anybody that's on the MLS, if they are using realtor.com or Redfin or Zillow, if they're using a third-party service that's not this website to get their real estate information, we want to move them back to the website so that we can stay on top of them. And the best way to do that are going to be the save searches and these market reports. And what they show are, if they rename them to something specific, the name will pop up here. Otherwise, it'll just be a simple, looking in Gilbert for single family residence, right? So we can see all of the searches that they're doing. I can see right here that this person has 17 different searches that are on. So we want to make sure that we know what they're doing the searches for, and that we're creating some relevant content that matches what they're looking for. This is automatically created. If any of you send a potential lead to the website and they create a search, or they are looking for a property and they log in, a search is automatically created for them based on location and really not much more. And that's important to know, because they're opting in to say, hey, I want more information from you. But usually if it's done by location, it's going to be a very broad generic search. So you'll get a notification of, hey, so-and-so set up a new search, but we want to look at that and make sure that it's not too generic, because that gives you another opportunity to reach out to them and say, hey, I saw that you just created a search for, properties under $1 million in Seattle, right? That's a large, network that they could be trying to plug into. So we want to make sure we can refine that, whether it's refining that search or creating some more specific searches, whatever we want to do. We just want to make sure that we're using the tool so that you can come in as that authority in real estate and be a service provider versus just, another real estate salesperson. So another way to utilize and leverage the system as far as that goes. So you can click on the individual searches themselves. And when you do that, it shows what that search is. So again, if there's a lot of properties on that, you want to be able to narrow that down for them. If they are on save searches, but we're not seeing a lot of activity in the history, a lot of our top producers will go in and just text them a listing from one of the searches and say, hey, just saw this property pop up. Are you still interested? Or maybe out of nowhere, they'll just, favorite one of the properties that comes up, and it brings attention to that property to your lead, right? Whether they want to or not. So even if they're looking at a very generic search, if they are getting emails, or maybe they've downloaded your mobile app, and then all of a sudden they're getting a notification of a favorited property, they might go, wait a minute, I didn't actually do that. But again, we're going to start that conversation and say, oh yeah, I saw this property. It looked interesting. What do you think about it? And you're going to get some feedback, and here we are having a conversation, right? So you're not going to get 100%, correct on the information we're providing. Ultimately, this is just going to be a starting point to leverage the platform to have that conversation. So being able to text those, or because you should be able to do it right from the CRM. So if this is the property they're looking at, you can click to view the property. And when you're looking at the overview of it, you can send it to them in an email, send the listing via text, right? Or again, you can go ahead, log in as the user by clicking that button. It's going to take you to the website. And actually, I don't know if this is going to work on my end, but it'll take you to the website, logged in as them, and you can click the favorite button. And again, they'll get the notification that they've favorited a property. The other component of the save searches, and this is where the Real Geek system is kind of a difference maker from other platforms out there, is when you as the agent, you have the ability to edit the searches on behalf of a lead, right? So if I have Jason here who has a search and he's logged in, I'm actually just going to click on one of these. Again, it's going to open the website here in a second. It's going to open the website and view that search. You have the ability to go in and make changes to that search on their behalf, which is great. But the other component of it is, when you are looking at the website, if somebody were to go to the advanced search, they have these different options but they are limited here to, I mean, they've got these, but as far as the drop downs, there's not that many things that they can choose from as far as getting a hyper specific search, which is good. That's exactly what we want. We want them to get, sort of a broad search. But how many of you have run into the situation where it's been, hey, I want at least 2,000 square feet, at least 3 bedrooms, but I don't want an HOA, and I don't see that as an option, right? Those
Mhm.
kind of things come up all the time. And so the super save search, I don't know why this is not cooperating with me right now. Okay, so what's going to happen is you can actually, as the agent, again, Jason wants something specific that's not on your website. You have the ability to log in as that person onto the website. And when you do that, a little bar should pop up at the top. So here it's telling me I'm signed in as Jason. So what this means is as I navigate the website, every property I click on or favorite, it's going to show up in Jason's profile. But right here, it has the ability to get to create a super saved search. Now, what this does, it opens a separate kind of search window here. Candace, we can still see this, right?
Yep, we sure
Okay,
can.
perfect. So what this does is compared to the search options on the website, which is user facing, this actually opens a search function that allows you as the agent to access every single field that the MLS offers. So if they say they want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but they want a 55 and up community, that's not an option that they might have. But you here have the ability to add the 55 and up community search function. So yes, I want that search there. So it allows you to kind of come in again as that service provider and take it one step further to say, hey, I can absolutely do that for you. Now, sometimes, because the MLS, especially now with the whole NAR thing, a lot of the boards are changing some of their requirements, changing some of their search terms. So if any of you run into a listing that has some category that is not on this search function, reach out to me, reach out to the team at Real Geeks and say, hey, I've got this listing, and send us the MLS number and say it has XYZ and I don't see it here. There's a chance that we just need to map it onto the system, which takes a matter of minutes. So if in the event there's something that we don't have here, but you see it on the MLS, we can go ahead and map that for you. But anything that's on the MLS, all of these different options here you should have access to, right? So that's again one of the key features or functions of that super save search that y'all should have access to. Okay, any questions on that before I hop over to the lead list? Anything in the chat?
Any questions at this point, guys? Feel free to take a second and unmute if you have anything thus far. Ah,
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yep,
yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, hey, just a quick question. I just want to confirm that for basically going forward, whereas before we would set up searches through the MLS, we'd set up the clients would log in, create an account, and then they would we'd send them basically properties that came on board that came online that matched their criteria. Are we able to basically do all that here instead and basically ignore the search
yes,
algorithms in
exactly.
the Northwest MLS? Is that what we're saying,
Yes.
Yes, and that's
Yep.
what he's saying. So if you have a client that is working and they're connected to you in your CRM, your Real Geek CRM, you're going to want to set them up on this search and then possibly expand on the super criteria,
Mhm.
right? So yes, and not engage them on the Northwest MLS search, because this way you can stay on top of and track. And then it, starts throwing them off. And then they've got the Real Geeks come into them, then they've got the Northwest MLS, and it just becomes a little probably too much. So you can stay hyper focused with them.
The other component too is the Northwest MLS. It's one of the better ones. Honestly, we work with, all the boards nationwide, but at the end of the day, the MLS itself was created for you. It was created for the agent. It wasn't created for the leads, right? So most people, if they're looking for real estate, they're going to go to Zillow, to Redfin, to Realtor.com, partly because they recognize that name, but the other part is because it provides a real seamless, good kind of experience for real estate shopping. but that's exactly what this website is going to do for them as well. So when they are on the MLS, you want to be able to come in and set them up on a search on the website, because as they're doing that, so if Jason was a lead and instead of setting them up on this search on the MLS, I do it through the website, I'm going to see when Jason is viewing properties, I'm going to see that he's favoriting stuff. I can add all of these other components to it. And again, it's all in one system, right? Where with the MLS, not very user friendly. I will have to pay attention to what's going in on my CRM, and I have to log into the MLS and look at that information. So this really should be providing a better user experience for your leads, but it's also eliminating that multi-system chaos that you all do. I mean, real estate is chaotic enough, especially right now. So the more that we can eliminate and streamline for you all and your users, that's kind of the goal of what we're doing.
Yes.
Okay, appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome.
Great
We've got
question.
one more question here. Is there a way to change the sent phone number? So the sent text from the account come from a different number. Is there a way to change that?
That is, I believe so. There's call forwarding numbers that we can do. I think that would be a separate conversation, probably with
Okay.
Rochelle, to see if we can, fix that and figure that out. But I do believe essentially the way that we look at it is the CRM is, you almost want to think of it as a separate mobile device. So as you're communicating, calling and texting from the CRM, think of that as like your marketing number. And as you get a relationship going with that person, that's where you can slide in and say, hey, you know what, use my cell phone. Like, here's my cell phone number. So the bad news is that communication is going to be done outside of the CRM. Now, I'm not saying you should come in here and manually log every single text message back and forth, but as things happen, if it's outside of the CRM, like I mentioned, you still want to come in and say, spoke with so-and-so about XYZ, and just log that in. So again, we can still kind of track and stay on top of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so now we're going to shift over so we did the dashboard, and then these are the individual contacts, which is sort of out of order. So now we're going to kind of take it a step back. We're going to click on leads and go to the lead list here. So this is going to drop down every lead that you all have assigned to you in the system. So again, mine's going to look a little bit different because the platform or the system's not exactly the same, but y'all should have a very similar view to what I'm looking at. Now, this can be very, very overwhelming. And any of you that have more than 50 or 100 leads that are in your CRM, there's a lot of information on this page. There's a lot coming at you. And the way that I describe it is, when we're dealing with this, we want to make sure we're eating that elephant one bite at a time, right? This is not, none of you should completely drastically change your businesses at the end of this call. But I hope every single one of you is going to get something, some simple call to action that we can start putting into place that we haven't been doing previously that we want to be doing now. So starting with some of the more basic stuff, these this blue bar here is stuff that you can quickly click and sort by. What I typically look at is start date and active date, right? Start date is either when they signed up on the platform or when I uploaded them. But if I sort by that, which it was, and I think I just did it backwards here. Okay, so if I sort by that, this is going to tell me who is newer, I should say, on the platform. So I've got somebody here named Jury Duty, and they were created on the platform 3 days ago. They were active 2 days ago. Ooh, but I've never contacted them according to the CRM. So this is, in addition to your live feed, this, when you sort by start date or active date, this is another view that you can look at as sort of your hot list, right? So they came on 3 days ago. They did a search that's a pretty broad search here. They were active a day after, but again, I have never reached out to them. So that's somebody that I should reach out to. Now, from here, you have the option of, I can now click on this and go back to the contact card, or just right here, hey, I'm going to get it while it's hot. I'm going to go ahead and shoot them a text message, or I'm going to shoot them an email just right from this screen as well. And it's going to track with their contact card. So start date is one, active date is another one that I think is probably just as relevant. So I'm seeing that all these people are active. So again, here's that Jury Duty, active 2 days ago, never contacted them. Trying to find one that's obvious here. 7 days ago, never contacted. So it just allows you to take a quick look at your entire database and see maybe who needs to be reached out, more than other. And now I mentioned the tags earlier and why they're so important. This is where I'm going to show you how that comes into play. You have this advanced search or advanced filter button here. And what you can do, and I'll tell you right now, this is a lot. These are all the different ways that you can actually sort and filter your lead list. There's a whole lot in here, and it's awesome for those of you that like to get granular. I myself, I take more of a 30,000 foot view on a lot of stuff, especially this when there's a lot of information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to tags. And I know that I got a new listing, or I just saw a new listing that is down the street from a coffee shop. So I'm going to type in coffee shop. I'm going to type in coffee was another one. And I know they have kids, or there's a playground, so it might apply to somebody that has kids. And also, whoops, it's near a soccer field. No, how SOC? No, football is that one. There you go. Maybe it's around the field, around the corner from a football stadium. So I'm going to click apply that filter. So it's going to take my 1,300 leads, and now it's going to give me a list of 22. So of my entire lead list, there are 22 that are in my system that have any combination of those tags. So this would be a great place for me to say, to reach out individually, say, hey, Jason, I've got a new listing coming up, and I can see from Jason, I can go in and see what tags apply to him. But I can say, hey, I've got this new listing, or a new listing just hit the market. It's there's a great community playground and it's near a coffee shop. I think you would love it. Let me know when you're ready to take a look at it. So it's a way for you to, again, use those tags that are totally custom, right? So some of you say seller, some of you say lister, some of you say listing lead, whatever it is, you can add as many of those custom tags as you want that fit your business. And it allows you to get really granular and really quick, right? That didn't take me very long to filter my database. And the other component of that is, if I maybe specialize in a specific price point, or maybe just, homes with a playground or have a community park, that's my specialty, and I use that search often, I can click this button right here, this green button that says save filter. And when I do that, it basically says, what do you want to name the filter? And then it creates one of these buttons up here at the top. So instead of going to advanced searcher, advanced filter, sort by tags, type in all the tags, and then go, I can just click one of these buttons. So like right here, I'm going to click on dog people. So now there's 3 people in my database that are interested in maybe something that's nearby a walking path or a dog park or something like that. So you can use these buttons to be able to quickly filter and get to whatever you need from your entire database. Because again, speed to lead, that's always the name of the game. The other component of what we feel in the Real Geeks platform is, if you all are living in your CRM and trying to figure out how to make it work, then you're not doing real estate, and that defeats the core concept of what we're trying to do. So we have gone to great lengths to try and make this as easy, and I hate saying simple, but as simple as possible for y'all to get what you need to do to make sure that you can get back to actual real estate. When it comes to tags, again, did something very generic like dog people, coffee lover, whatever, but this is a great opportunity for you to go in with your leads and say, maybe they're a veteran, or they have kids, or they don't have kids, or they want a specific school district or nearby attraction. So again, it's really how you as the agent want to categorize. But if you are on this call and you're not using tags, that's probably the first thing I would say, is to start utilizing those, because I think they're a pretty key component on the platform. So when it comes to all of this, I have mentioned, texting and emailing. At the end of the day, one of the biggest, excuse me, one of the biggest core concepts that we see kind of going by the wayside is, it doesn't matter how awesome the website is or how much information you have about the lead, we still need to call them, right? We know that the average, I think it's like 8 to 13 touches before opportunity becomes a transaction. And obviously there's a lot of factors that go into that, but most agents, and I'm talking 95+% of agents, do not make a 4th or 5th phone call. Call them once, call them twice, and then maybe send them a text. And now I'm going to put them on a drip campaign, or now I'm just going to send them on a search, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But what we have found, what our top producers live by, is that any type of automated communication, this should be enhancing what you're doing with your leads. It should not be replacing your communication, right? So we're looking to get to that 8 to 13. Sometimes it's 20 plus, these touch points in getting out there. Sometimes we look at automated communication as being a touch point, which again, depending on what you're doing and how you operate on day to day, that could be a touch point. It might not be, but ultimately we still want to make sure that calling is king, right? And the way that we look at it is, kind of a mental gymnastics, if you will, a mental shift here. Think about going into Best Buy, right? When you walk into Best Buy and you are looking for a dishwasher, right? That's what I'm going to Best Buy. Somebody's going to walk up to you, hey, what can I help you with? Oh, you know what? I'm good. I'm just browsing, or I'm looking for dishwasher, whatever it is, you are that person, right? So we want to make sure that we're not bombarding them, but we also don't want to say, oh yeah, that stuff's in the back. Let me know if you need help, right? We want to be able to send them information about dishwashers. We want to check in and see how their search on dishwashers is going, right? And this is appliances, automobiles, anything, right? Plus, how many times do you go to Best Buy looking for a dishwasher and end up walking out with a DVD player or something different, right? And that is exactly, I think Howard was the one that asked the question. Like, that's why we want them on the website doing the searches, because that's where we can see when they shift from a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath to a 1-bedroom condo downtown. Something happened. Are they downsizing? Are they empty nesters? What's going on? The system tells us when there's a shift and really who we need to reach out to and why. So that's why that's so important. Okay, a couple final notes here. For any of you that are interested in just kind of tidbits, coaching content, if you have never been, I suggest going to realgeeks.com/blog. What we have on our blog is a lot of what I like to call bite-sized content. We have an awesome podcast, and we partner with a lot of coaches to put some of those episodes together. The good news, a lot of information, a lot of helpful stuff. The bad news, not a lot of people have time to listen to an hour or a 90-minute podcast, right? So we have actually taken either clips from that or completely separate, snippets, and put together a lot of these, 12-minute, 16-minute, 12-minute. So these are very digestible calls to action, right? Coaching points. So, hey, I want to learn more about identifying opportunities in my CRM, or man, generating leads for free. That's something I'm really interested in, right? So for those of you that are, looking to get more updates on that, definitely go to the blog page. There's a lot of great content there. And I know I mentioned earlier, if you are seeing something on the MLS that maybe your saved search doesn't have, in the Real Geek system, we need to get it mapped out. The support page is a great place to go. You can click this button here, submit a ticket, say, hey, MLS ID, whatever has this, and it's not on our website. We want to get it mapped. That's where you would do that. But this is also a great place to go. This is support.realgeeks.com. And this is just a wealth of knowledge and information on the platform, right? So today we talked about super saved search, and maybe you came on the call late or whatever. So I'm going to type in super saved search. And now I've got a bunch of different articles here that talk about super saved search, the saved searches, the market reports, and all the different stuff that's related, right? So any questions on the platform, obviously you've got resources to reach out, but I would say this is probably the #1 place to go to, because regardless of the time of the day, regardless of the day of the week, most of the information that you're looking for is going to be there on the support page. Okay, so really just wrapping up for today, the key components of the system itself, right? Your live feed, log into that dashboard at least twice a day, right? You want to log in the morning, what's been going on overnight, and log in towards the end of the day, what has been going on during the day while I was out doing business, and who do I need to reach out to, right? So that live feed is first and foremost going to be your lifesaver, because as things change, as your leads do different stuff, that's where you're going to see that. Call early, call often, right? When it comes to your leads, we all know speed to lead is the name of the game. So we want to make sure that your system is set up properly. If you do not have the Real Geeks CRM app downloaded, do that now. Go to the what is it, the Apple Store and then the Play Store, whatever they're called, and download the Real Geeks app. You're going to log in with your same CRM credentials. It's going to allow you to make text messages, phone calls directly from your phone, but you can also get push notifications for certain things as well. So instead of just an email and or a text message about a new lead or someone favoriting a property, you can also get push notifications. So I know some of you are, out in the field 24/7. That's pretty handy to have. So as soon as things happen on the system, we want to make sure we can call, text, email, reach out. So keep that in mind. And then the last piece was the searches, right? Adjust the searches, the workflows that they're getting, the market reports. We want to, like I said, the automated communication, it should be enhancing what you're doing. There are so many real estate nuggets that are out there that we can share with our leads that they actually care about. What they really want is that real estate information. So anybody that's in the system, and actually, I don't think I touched on this, when you are looking at your lead list, the 3 most powerful buttons you have are need a drip, need a market report, and need a save search. So if you have 100 leads in your database and you're not sure who's getting what, I'm going to click need a save search and it's going to automatically filter. So I had 1,300 somebody in here. I have almost 900 leads in my system that are not getting some type of save search. I need to get them on something, right? And this is a great opportunity to start reaching out and saying, hey, Jody, I'm going to set you up on a save search. What interests you or what part of town or whatever it is. You do the same with a market report. Now, traditionally, a market report, it's going to show them active properties in the area or similar to what their search was. It's going to show properties under contract and sold properties. So usually those are best for somebody who is a homeowner and a potential seller lead, whereas a save search is going to be somebody for a potential buyer. I would say they should be getting both. Everybody should be getting almost both because obviously buyers become sellers, sellers become buyers, and it's great to get as much information as possible. We don't want to bombard them, but usually you don't want to bombard them with like, hey, it's Cameron over at Best Choice. Are you still the owner at 123 Main Street? Like that's such a dead talk track that's going nowhere. But if you can reach out and say, hey, some of your neighbors have requested that I send them some, market information. Are you interested in getting it too? Wow, my neighbor's getting it. I want it. Like if it's that fear of missing out, and you have just situated yourself as kind of that authority in real estate. And I can tell you right now, when we bought this house, I don't know the agent's name. I don't know the brokerage. I could not come up with that if I told, if you gave me $1 million, we get a market report from our lender. And I want to say someone else, but if an agent reached out to me and said, hey, Cameron, are you interested? Yeah, sign me up. I'll get 1 million of them if I want. I want to look at, market information. You guys have the tools at your fingertips. And as like the first thing I said, having the tools is different than using the tools, right? So we want to make sure that we are utilizing what's at your fingertips. Again, we don't want you to kind of reinvent the wheel when it comes to your business, but we believe that there are things here that y'all are not taking advantage of that could definitely change your business day to day. So that's kind of the overview, the CRM 101, if you will. Were there any questions, comments, other things to kind of look at?
Anybody, feel free to unmute yourself. I know for me, this was great because I always enjoy learning something new, and I have quite a few takeaways. The super save search, I did not know about that. And I like how you can actually use the tags, and understanding how to use them was big for me as well. So this was really good. Really, really good.
Awesome.
Realgeeks.com/blog, support.realgeeks.com. Tons of information. I know sometimes we offer the lead pond training. So we have the lead pond where you can get leads, and it's only offered once a month here at Best Choice. But I mean, with all that you have here, I feel like you can go and self-learn in that support .realgeeks.com and get some information so that you're ready to go when it's time. But this is great.
The last thing I will say is when it comes to the platform itself, you all have this Best Choice Realty website. It's amazing. It's user friendly. Rochelle's done a lot of awesome things to kind of customize and make it look the way that it should look as far as efficiency wise. The the only difference here and some of the stuff I talked about, like I mentioned on the platform, mine might look a little bit different because I'm viewing this as an owner or an admin. So when it comes to some of the functionality on the platform, some of those you would only get if you had your own Real Geek system in place. I know I've worked with Rochelle and a few of her agents. So if any of you are interested in getting kind of your own system set up, we have awesome discounts and stuff with that through Rochelle. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and see if we can get you up on kind of your own individual system. Just gives you a little more access and flexibility when it comes to, you know, the mass communication, creating your own workflows, that kind of stuff. But again, this is a safe place. So if any questions come up, I'm here to answer them.
Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. And then I think too, just my big takeaway is this is not to replace your communication. And picking up the phone and having conversations. It's a tool to help you maybe make it a little bit easier to pick up the phone and call as well. So I really like that. That's a big takeaway for me as well. And it's okay to go back to the clients that you have not talked to in a while and find a reason to get them in and set them up on a search or set them up on a market report, and get them in the know of what's going on.
For a lot of the you know, older less engaged clients, one
Hmm.
easy talk track there is they don't know about the website usually, and so it's a great way to just send a generic, hey, we just updated our search portal, we just updated our website. They don't know that you didn't actually update that, but it's like, hey,
Right.
here's the link, click on that, let me know what you think, and they'll get some
Right.
feedback. Maybe they'll sign up for a search. So again, just ways to turn your database into an active audience, because opportunities are going to come from an active audience, not just a database. So food for
That's
thought
so
on that.
true. Awesome. Yes, wonderful. Anybody have any other questions? Anything? I think it was so good. I mean, for me, I'm just like, yeah, you were very thorough, so I appreciate that.
Perfect.
Um, but yeah.
All
Well,
right.
if there's nothing else, we won't keep it going any longer. Was there anything else that you wanted to share, Cameron?
No, that's just, I mean, again, any tips and tricks, if we didn't cover it today, I would say go to the blog and type in, you know, if you're trying to leverage market reports better, you know, go to the blog, type in market report. I guarantee you there's a podcast or some articles specific to market
Something in
reports.
reference.
Yep, absolutely.
Good,
So great place
good.
to start.
Okay, good. Everybody said it's very helpful. Thank you, Sina. Thanks,
Right.
Virginia. All right. Well, thank you again, Cameron. Enjoy the rest of your day. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be seeing you soon.
Hopefully, we'll have a good day, everyone.